Today we're going to be showing you how to chip from difficult lies.
Hi, we're your coaches Piers and Andy from Meandmygolf, although today we're not your coaches because we've got a special guest coach. We've got Danny Maude, PJ professional and YouTube sensation. How are you doing?
That was some intro. Thank you guys. I really appreciate the invite.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's great to have you on and sharing some of your knowledge and expertise with our viewers. Now, before we get into chipping, first of all, guys, we want to make sure you watch to the end of the video because we've got two amazing giveaways for you that you could potentially win. And also subscribe to our channel and head over to Danny's as well because we've got some great content that continue to help your game. Now we're going to kick it off with a perfect lie. You've got this lovely little chip shot here, no problems at all. We're going to just go through this and then we're going to move around the green and sort of share some different ways of playing some tricky lies, Danny.
Absolutely.
So let's kick this one off for us.
So I thought I'd start with just understanding the basic chipping technique first. So things that you want to kind of consider and things that I see with a lot of golfers. So just had a recent client of mine, Terry, and really struggling with his chipping. He's kind of fatting his shots, he's sitting them consistently. There's obviously no strike and no distance control. So he was falling into a couple of the common problems I see, and one is ground contact, and the other one is actually controlling the club face. So we'll start with the face first. You know, one simple thing with chipping is obviously when you're chipping, you're generally in trouble. You know, you can't bring out the putter, so we want to keep the loft on the club face. That's why we're choosing a wedge in the first place. Now I've got a 9-9 here because we've got a lot of green to work with, so we don't need a huge amount of loft. The first thing I want to do is I see people, the simplest way of keeping the loft on is simply just getting the lead hand turned a little bit towards the target. It just weakens the club off a little bit and helps you to keep that loft on the golf club all the time. Simple change. It can feel a little bit strange to start off with, but it's an easy way of controlling that face. The second thing is ground contact. You see a lot of people, the 1 minute they're kind of jabbing the club into the turf. Yeah. The next thing they're kind of like missing the turf completely and like blading it or topping it and whatever. So how do they go about, do you go about actually making more consistent contact? And the first thing I like to see, and what was Terry, the problem what Terry was kind of making was he had a load of wrist angles in here. At the setup here, he had a lot of flex in his lead wrist. And without so many angles going on, it was very difficult to make consistent contact with the ground. So all I did really was, Terry, is I got him to kind of stretch those angles out so it's a lot taller here, okay, like this. And then from there, see the lead arm now and club are almost forming a single unit, okay? So once you stretch them out, we're almost now, can you see how I'm kind of moving away from the ground?
Yeah.
Yep. So because I'm moving away from the ground, when I start to swing the club backwards and forwards now, I'm only going to be gliding the ground. When you get closer to it, it makes it too easy to chunk inside it. So we stretch those angles out on both sides, and once we've done that, all I'm then going to do is just start to kind of control that club face, keep the loft on the club face backwards and forwards, and you'll notice here, I'm not having stacks of wrist hinge, which I see with a lot of people. I'm not trying to get that handle forward, getting that leading edge stuck in. What I'm really trying to do here is get the bottom part, the bounce of the club here, the flat bit, just simply gliding along the surface. So even on a simple shot like this, I want to be just gliding the club through the surface, and again, controlling that ground contact all the time. So let's have a look. So I get myself set, weaken that lead hand off by turning it a little towards the target, make a few swings, and this is what I recommend too, is make a few practice swings, going backwards and forwards, simply trying to keep that contact on the ground consistent. If you find yourself kind of dunking it in, great, that's great feedback. Yeah. So it doesn't matter, this is why the best players in the world have practice swings, so they can they can calibrate that contact, and then
so just brushing the ground effectively, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really feeling that the sole plate here is there's no grab in any shape or form. I'm really feeling that sole plate is just simply gliding along the ground, and I'm not trying to hit down on the golf ball in any shape or form here. I'm almost literally just trying to clip it off the surface, okay?
Nice.
Let's see what happens.
Come on, here we go. All that practice is about to come
Absolutely.
out to fruition. That's nice. Could be in.
It's got a chance.
It's
got a chance. Oh, nearly.
Oh, not bad.
Right then, Danny, we've gone from a simple chip and run, which you did exceptionally well at, to probably the hardest shot.
You've actually buried me here.
Oh yeah, we've stood on it, yeah, absolutely. So this is probably the most common question that we get asked. Short side, out of the rough, how to get up and down. It's so easy to get it wrong. A lot of bad concepts out there. There's lots of ways of doing it, but you've got a couple of good ways, haven't you?
Absolutely. Well, the first thing we do clearly is look, I reckon that, to keep things really, really simple, have two clubs. You've got a running club. I chose a 9-9 for my running club where we had a lot of greens to work with, and now I've got like a 60-degree lob wedge. So the first thing we're going to do, clearly when we haven't got a lot of greens to work with, we don't want that ball racing away. So I'm going to ditch the 9-9.
But even now, sorry, I'm just interrupting you. Even now, even when we go with that off, some people get it wrong. How do they get it wrong?
How do they? Well, what they do straight away is they're trying to get into the ball.
Okay.
So as soon as they get in, they literally get all this shaft lean into here, and when they do that, they actually take the loft off the golf club. And loft is our friend in a situation like this. So the first thing you want to do, we don't want to be hitting down on the golf. They've been told to hit down on the golf ball, particularly if it's in the rough. And all that does is it gets a steep angle of attack. It de-lofts the club, and if you do catch the ball first, the ball's going to fly over the back of the green. Or if you get over the golf ball now and you kind of do it, you get this kind of chunk in and the ball goes nowhere.
Definitely.
Exactly. Seen that
Exactly.
before?
We've seen that.
Exactly,
We've done that before.
Done that before.
So let's bury this one again. So
Lovely.
So yeah, lovely. A bit difficult for myself. So again, how do we relate what we did in the last training? Well, clearly again, loft is our friend. So we're going to keep the lead hand, again, rotate it towards attack, keep it nice and weak. But I'm going to make a couple of one slight alteration. We're going to open the face, okay, first. I've only opened it about 20 to 30 degrees here. And the reason for this is twofold. One is to kind of add more loft onto the golf club. So again, that's what we need. But the other thing is when you angle a club face away from the target slightly, you create less resistance in the actual grass itself. So you're able to kind of get through the golf ball a lot easier and get through that rough a lot easier. If you square the face, there's a big chunk of metal there that can often get snagged, and it can lead to these shots. So
Okay, makes sense.
yep, so we stand up there, nice kind of weak lead hand. And the third and final, so we've opened the face by about 20, 30 degrees. And the third and final thing here is I'm gonna kind of, again, address the ball a little bit off the toe of the club. Again, I don't want to hit the sweet spot in any shape or form. I want to kind of get a very deflective strike. And I'm actually going here to strike the ground behind the golf ball. I'm not actually going to strike the ball first. If we start to strike the ball first, there's be too much energy going back into the ball and going through. So literally going behind the ground. I have to be quite confident with this because I see a lot of people on short range here. We've got a lot of grass to go through. So I've got to be nice and aggressive.
Oh, very nice.
And I think that's such a key part there, Danny, though. Again, played that really nice. Again, you're on the green there. It's so easy to leave it in there. But because you're not hitting the golf ball, you're hitting the grass, it's going to slow it down.
Definitely.
You need to have that commitment and speed in order to actually make sure you get it on there.
Yeah, and I think this is where practice comes in. So a lot of people, you see them practicing their short game and they're practicing it pretty much all the time from good lies. And then when they get, rough like this, and you'll know, when it's wet and heavy, you need to get a kind of a feel for the rough lies. So, I will spend a good, before a round, sometimes 5 or 10 minutes, just chunking a ball into some deep rough and then just getting a feel of how aggressive I need to be. And again, it talks about calibrating in terms of ground contact. We've got to calibrate in terms of this type of rough and how hard we need to hit it. And in the summer when it's drier, we don't have to hit it as hard. It can be a little bit softer. And in the winter when it gets really snaggy and wet, we've got to hit it a bit firmer. So again, keeping the same principles and just altering that pace just through practice.
So here's a great example. We've got it looks a fairly basic chip shot, but we've got two different scenarios here. We've got a decent lie and we've got a ball that's sitting down. Plenty of green to work with, but we'd obviously play these different, wouldn't we? So,
Absolutely.
Danny, talk us through this first one, the decent lie. What would we do on this one?
Well, this is the lie that I would say most amateurs love. It's perched up.
I like this one.
Yeah, they love it because there's more margin of error in a shot like this one. So the first thing I would do is you can use multiple clubs. You could use your running club, like I've got a 9-iron here, or you could use your lob wedge. Because you've got a lot of green to work with, I recommend kind of using something like your running club, which in this case is a 9-iron. It's just got a larger margin of error. So I'll choose that one. And then the great thing about it is nothing really changes come to the shot that we just played at the start. You get your loft isn't as important because we've got a lot of green to work with, but we're still going to manage the face with that lead wrist, and we're still in a sense going to kind of keep those angles stretched out and keep that body working backwards and forwards in a unit. But there is one thing you've got to be aware of. When it's perched up like this, you aren't going for the traditional ground contact like we said here. What you're going to do is you've got to remember the ball's perched up. So if your club actually strikes the ground, the ball itself is going to come too high in the face. So we want to make sure that when we're actually making this motion here, we're almost just clipping halfway up the blade of grass. I'll play the shot and then I'll show you a really great drill that you can probably use in your garden to kind of improve this. So let's have a go at this. I've got, again, manage that face with my lead wrist, stretch those angles out and keep it nice and smooth. And away we go, a little bit right.
Very easy to hit high on the face and leave it short.
And leave it short.
As a result.
Exactly. So, one of the things you can do to kind of work on this, if I just move on out over here, So what you're going to do here is you're in the garden. If you obviously it's a great simple way. I'm going to perch the ball up off the tee, and then the great added bonus here. What you do is you make some swings, and all you're going to try and do is clip the ball off the tee without actually hitting the tee. Okay, tricky.
Very nice.
It's a little bit long, but I've missed the tee, right?
Yeah.
So, and what you do with this is you just simply start to move the tee around a little bit, push it down, and just keep practicing. And what you'll find to start with, you'll probably start striking the tee a few times. Well, that's great feedback. And all it is just, it's helping you manage, again, your depth all the time. So if you've got those angles that are crunched in here, you're going to struggle to do this. Stretch those angles out, make some swings, manage the low point of that arc, and away we go. So now the kind of lie is really buried down. We kind of need to make some changes. So I'm not using, obviously, the 9. I want to use my lob wedge. And what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to do something slightly different. We want the ball, in a sense, out of this rough, hence the loft. But I don't want it kind of coming out and then stopping. So I want the ball kind of releasing somehow. So what I do now is, again, keeping it nice and simple. I've seen so many tall players doing this, and it's a really accurate way of chipping. I literally get the shaft very, very vertical. So what you want to do is get the shaft really vertical, put it up your lifeline. I gave this to Terry and he loved it. It's such a simple way of chipping around the green. Nice and vertical here, it goes up lifeline. As he said, it feels weird because it's kind of a very different style of grip. Still stretch those angles out, okay? But I'm still, funnily enough, getting the toe of the club, because when you obviously, you kind of get the shaft vertical, the heel's off the ground. So I still want the toe of the club striking the golf ball. So get the club at the lead arm and club forming a nice kind of straight line, and all I'm going to do is get the toe on the ball, and I'm going to aim to strike the ball first and pop it out.
So there's a good element to run as well, which
Yeah,
is superb.
It's such a safe way of playing the shot, because the great thing, as soon as you kind of get the toe vertical, again, like we said before, there's less resistance in the grass this way. The club's going to go through the turf a lot better.
Yeah, love it, love it, love it. All right, so we've got one last tip. Now this is about technique, but it's also about mindset, because we've got the dreaded bunker.
The bunker.
What do we do here, Danny?
Well, I think the first thing to realise is, you're careful, Piers. The first thing to realise is a lot of people try and do something drastically different when they see a bunker in front of them. They immediately choose the loft, and you can see them trying to get loads of height and do not really kind of stuff that's really awkward, and that's going to affect obviously your strike and what have you. So I'm going to choose here. Look, I could choose my lofted club, okay, because that's what most people would think about doing.
Yep.
But we've got a lot of green to work with, so I'm actually going to choose a 9-9, and the reason being is I just want to show you guys that you don't have to get loads of elevation, particularly when you've got a lot of green to work with, to get over this bunker. You can do exactly the same thing. So it's just getting over the psychological element first. So there's two things. One is to realize there's no real difference in the mechanics of this shot. I've got a pretty good lie here.
Yes.
Okay. So no difference in the mechanics. But what we might need to add in to cope with that kind of nervousness, particularly if you've been duffing a few, is a little bit of a routine. And one of the things I like to do is speed is your friend.
Yes.
In situations like this, getting over the golf ball and kind of hovering over for like 5 minutes, trying to work this out. You're really just thinking about not duffing it in the bunker, yeah? So what I want you to do, you've got the mechanics now, you've done some practice. What we're going to do now is I'm going to pick my landing spot, and I'm kind of not even worried about the bunker, because the reality is I don't need any height. It's just a simple chip shot, yeah?
Yep.
So I'm going to walk to the shot. I might even have just a couple of practice swings here, get a feel for what I'm doing.
Calibrate that contact.
Calibrate the contact as we've done all the way through, and then just simply hit the shot.
Okay.
And this is, again, something that you can go and practice out on the practice ground, literally work on your routine. I see too many golfers kind of grabbing a bag of balls, hitting them one after the other, and they're not really training themselves for the golf course. So let's give it a go.
I like it.
You feeling safe there, Piers?
Yeah, I'm only standing here so the camera can see the view. I wasn't moving out the way at all.
I'm just waiting to hold one of these,
Well,
Danny. There's
you've
one
got
in there close.
There's
But
one in
come
there
on.
close.
He's actually got worse though, because that was his first shot.
And we're downwind now. We're downwind. So okay, so let's have a little go at this 9-9. So get ourselves set, and all I'm going to do again, same principles. I'm going to calibrate the contact here, get a feel for it. That feels pretty good. Get myself set.
Really nice. No messing
So
around
simple.
there.
So
Really
simple.
fast.
Yeah.
Speed is your friend.
Yep,
Decent shot there as well.
that's it. Nice, simple.
Danny, thank you so much. It's
I
been
show you by
awesome.
the hand, but
yeah, we
I'll
can't
just
even
wave-
do that
we'll just
on
wave to
camera.
you over there.
Exactly.
Now, Andy, you were talking about a giveaway.
Giveaway, yes, we have a chance, or you have a chance actually, to win a tailor-made driver on our channel, a sim driver. All you need to do is like this video, comment below, and you need to subscribe. Obviously, it's going to help your game. And you also have a chance to win a driver over on Danny's channel. So make sure you head over there, subscribe to his channel, and watch our latest video on driving, like and comment. And you've got 2 chances to win 2 drivers.
2 chances,
Two
2
chances.
drivers. You're probably going to enter both competitions. I don't think they can win both drivers, can they?
Who knows?
We'll see, we'll see. But look, it's been fantastic having Danny here talking about chipping. And speaking of chipping, the end of September, we have got complete chipping coaching plans. A 5-week plan. It's going to revolutionise your short game if Danny hasn't done that already. So make sure you check it out, and we'll see you soon.